Hello pilots and welcome back to another X-Wing flight video brought to you by Out of Arc Gaming. As always, my name is Phil, and today we've got something a little bit different. Little not being the right word, we mean a big bit different. We've got some epic ships on the table, 30 points of absolute craziness to show off today. Myself and Wes decided we wanted to get those big ships out because we hadn't had them on the table in so long. We thought, why not? And we've roped along a very special guest to talk to us about this, who knows absolutely nothing about Epic, because hasn't played it since 1.0, but he loves spaceships. So we have...
Well, hello, it's Ben. Thank you for having me on the channel. It's always good to do a bit of commentary, and looking forward to this one. Yeah, I played one game of Epic back in version 1, but I haven't seen it since, so yeah, this will be quite exciting.
Yeah, it's tricky to get Epic down on the table at the moment because, well, they just don't have the rules. Well, they've got the rules, but they haven't done points for it. But fortunately, Yazby, those clever monkeys, have just put together what feel like quite good point sets for them. So it gives those of us who actually spent money on the big ships and are willing to dust them off a chance to actually play. But what we do, we're going to have a quick run through of the list. We're not going to go through all the upgrades. They're on the side of the screen and in the description below. We're just going to go through the ships and pilots that we have on the table. So for myself, I have the Rebel list. I have the GR-75 medium transport with the Echo base Evacuees just at the top of the screen that you can just about see. I've got a wing of T-65Xs with Luke Skywalker, Wedge Antilles, and Biggs Darklighter. Luke is the wing leader for that, and they are in a wing. I also have a wing of B-Wings with Gina Moonsong, Braylon Stram, and Tennum, with Gina being the wing leader for those. So going very thematic with the X-Wings and just my three favourite B-Wings, basically. And what have we got on the other side there?
So, Wes, taking the Empire, has got a Outer Rim Patrol, so Raider class corvette as his epic ship. Darth Vader. I'd love to see Darth Vader.
Yep.
Lieutenant Sai in the shuttle, and then we've got Hal Runner as the wing leader with 5, just out of cannon, 5 TIE fighters.
Yeah, a classic wing there. Hal Runner is a great wing leader with her ability, like just so everyone can re-roll.
Yeah, Hal Runner is so strong.
And obviously with it just being Black Squadron Aces, no upgrades for ways to remember there, just lots and lots of shots and many evades. So TIE Fighter wings are going to be scary to take out.
Yeah, I feel like you need to go for Hal Runner quite early.
Yeah. What we will say, obviously, with so many ships on the board, you'll see that Lieutenant Sai has a calculate token. If it's a calculate token, it's actually a focus. We just don't have enough focuses for this many ships on the board. But it looks like quite a wide open setup from Wes just to try and cover all angles and make sure that that Raider doesn't bump into anything. And quite a compact setup for myself, just sort of trying to see where everything is going to end up going.
There's a lot of torpedoes in your list.
I mean, I had the space, so I thought torpedoes were the order of the day. And yeah, there's...
That's a scary amount of firepower.
Yeah, 3 sets of plasma and 3 sets of proton torpedoes. And 3 sets of proton cannons. Yeah, a lot of firepower. I wanted something that could give me a chance against an epic-based ship. Obviously, I didn't know whether... All I knew was Wes was going to bring Empire, so I didn't know if I was going to come up against a Gazanti or a Raider, but both have a lot of health. I mean, the Raider has 20 hull and 6 shields. 2 of which...
And 2 force, because he's put the child in the Raider.
Yeah, he's got the child on there. there's a lot of Force. You've got the Child there. You've got Palpatine with Sai and Vader. And I've
Force is
got
strong with the Empire.
Yeah, they've all come hunting for Luke Skywalker. They all want him on their side. I think the Child is really disappointed that with the choice he was given by Luke, he wanted his Beskar armor and his friend and the Force.
So interesting that the Wes has got his ship quite far away from everyone, but he's got quite a lot of space. I wonder if he goes as fast as he can.
Yeah, those ships can move fairly quickly, and I will point out that again, this is the first time we've had the epic ships down on the table in quite a while. There's a lot of sort of checking the rules, a lot of how do we do this, how do we do that. So there are a few mistakes, shall we say, but this is just a very casual game that we want to have fun. But yeah, those big ships can move quite quickly, and some of their guns, you can
Range
get some
5?
interesting guns. No, their standard guns are range 3, but you can equip other guns that have a longer range. So
Okay.
you could put on there. It was the targeting battery, which is range 2 to 5. The turbo laser battery, which is 3 to 5, and the ion cannon battery, which is 2 to 4. So there's a lot of options you can put on those ships. I mean, based on the YASB loadouts, the transport can take 25 points of loadout, and the raider can take 50. There's a lot that you can put on there. And just checking for some shots from those TIE fighters up at the top. And we're just doing a straight fight, no objectives, no scenarios for this, just two large squadrons going face to face with each other. And it looks like the TIE fighters have just snuck into range of the transport, which is a bit disappointing. So probably going to lose a fair few shields there. Unfortunately, with the transport and the raider, their shields do replenish every turn. So the transport will replenish 1 shield a turn, and the raider 2 shields a turn.
So I remember in version 1, I think you had energy that you can use to
Yes.
fire certain weapons. Is that still the same?
Yeah, energy is still the same in this. So it works slightly differently, but you do still have the energy. So, for instance, some of the guns you can put on there, like the targeting batteries, you can spend energy as a bonus attack. With the criticals you can get, they can actually turn your weapons offline. And when to get them back online, you then have to spend energy to reactivate them. So there's quite a few different things in there that will mean that you have to spend that energy, and like when you're stressed, you lose energy rather than other like actions. So it is an interesting mechanic, and once you've played it a couple of times, it does become more intuitive and quite fun. And you can put on different things, like with the transport. I've got the optimized power core on there, so if I do a blue maneuver, I recover an energy, and you recover 1 or 2 energies depending on the size of your ship every turn, kind of like the Force. So, I mean, with Wes, if it wasn't for the fact that it's the Child, he'd have like 3 things to be recovering every turn. It'd be shield, energy, and Force. And plus, the tracker that you get with the ships now is actually really handy for tracking those, because before you'd have like tokens where you'd try and track it, and you just have so many, it was ridiculous. But imagine having 6 shield tokens just on the raider plus the energy tokens. It would be a nightmare.
Yeah, you wouldn't have space to put all your stuff. Oh, that's a nice set of evades.
Yes, that's a very long-range shot there from the transport. I believe some of his upgrades might not have actually translated across onto there, so that would be the targeting battery that I have on the GR75 and the hard point that the Raiders got, I believe, was the point defense battery, which is range 1 to 2, and that can do a lot of bonus attacks.
So, what was your thoughts going into this? Did you have a plan at the start? It's like, right, I'm going to go for the epic ship, or
It was
go?
mainly, I don't like the look of 6 TIE fighters to start with.
Yeah, I mean, Wes has given you a pretty nasty choice.
Yeah,
Of do you turn
6 TIE
left and ignore
fighters
the epic
or the
ship, or
rest.
turn right and ignore the TIE fighters?
So, knowing that I had an epic ship that I was going to be coming up against, that's kind of why I've got the B-Wings for, with Proton Cannons, Marksmanship, all of the torpedoes. I was hoping to whittle down the epic ship as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean,
The
plasma torpedoes would be a good.
Yeah,
So you good combo plasma torpedoes, take the shields out, and then proton cannons get the crit through.
yeah, absolutely. It's quite a nice sort of double tap there with the stabilized S-Foils as well. Hopefully get a lot of output with them.
Easy
The
to line up the
X-Wings,
bullseye as well.
yeah. The X-Wings, as you can see, I did decide, you know what, I probably want to try and take down some of those TIE fighters and support that transport, because I'm not going to be able to really get off Hoth if I can't take out those TIE fighters. And I definitely didn't want to try and have that transport go up against the Raider, because that's just a fight that it would not win. But one thing I do love is having them in the wing, using that wing tool. Opens up
Yeah,
some
that saves
interesting.
so much time.
The amount of time that saves is ridiculous. Also does open up some crazy things. Like if your leader does a 3 hard, whichever way you're turning, the one on the outer side ends up doing such a big, almost like a 4 hard instead. It's just, it is crazy. It adds an extra level of like, right, how exactly is this going to fit? Like with these 2 wings now going in opposite directions, like, right, I need to really think about how that's going to fit in.
You can break the wing formation though, can't you?
Yeah, you can deliberately break the wing formation at any point, and there may be points in the game where I wish I had done that. I will say Wes's choice to have an ace or a named pilot with generics is probably a better choice than what I did with at least the B-Wings. Because I realized about halfway through the game that I kind of stifled my B-Wings capabilities by having Braden and 10 not getting stressed that often.
Mm.
But it was still really nice to fly them in a wing. It would just made things so much easier. Like watching Wes do this now, just doing one ship, putting the wing tool down, and then between me and him, just moving them up was just so much easier. I do wish you could do that in a normal game as well, but apparently that's not allowed.
And I think I remember in version 1 as well, if an epic ship hit a other ship, it's instantly destroyed. Is that still the case?
They changed that, much to my wife's, when she occasionally plays.
She likes
She
to
was
do the
happy
batter
about
and
that.
ram.
Well, no, I might have forgotten to mention that. When we played an epic game in 1.0, and obviously, as you can imagine, there's so much going on. I kind
That's going
of
to get you sleeping on the sofa.
Yeah. So I mean, she had 2 ships in front of my radar, and I went, oh, okay, full speed ahead and just destroy the shot. You didn't tell me that would happen. It's like, I'm genuinely sorry, I forgot. We had must have been about 65 cards all over the place for each of us. But yeah, it works differently now. So if a ship other than an epic ship collides with an epic ship, it ends up being now put at the back of the ship. So say the epic ship was to move, say the raider was to move in and hit Vader. Vader would end up behind the raider. He would take damage, and he would end up having to fly away from there. If epic ships collide, then they take damage according to how fast the epic ship was moving.
That
So
makes sense.
there's no running over and instant killing. Obstacles, if an epic ship hits an obstacle, it destroys the obstacle. So they're good like minesweepers in that sense.
We could do with some of them in the normal game then.
Yeah. I mean, with my flying, you'd think that some of my ships were minesweepers normally. But yeah, so they've made epic ships are still quite powerful and quite potent, but they're not as directly devastating to your opponent's ships anymore. Like, they can still kill a ship by running it over, but it has to be weakened first before it can do that. Obviously, they've got their own specific tool for doing the movement as well, and that is very well done by Wes to get Vader out of the way. I think he would have been safe earlier, but to make sure that Vader's definitely not getting hit, because those, again, it's a lot harder to judge how far an epic ship is going to move because you just don't play it very often. But there's a nice juicy target for my B-Wings if they decide that's where they want to go, or they've got a nice Lambda sat right for them, which in any other game would be quite a nice target.
I like the fact that you got Emperor Palpatine, most of the key players, Palpatine,
Yeah.
Vader, Leia in the transport. Thematic.
I really wanted to go quite thematic with what I had on my side of the table. Obviously, the classic 3 X-Wings from A New Hope, Braylon and Ten, who are just 2 of my favourite pilots, and Gina works really well in the middle there with them.
Have you got a Han Solo in reserve that's going to fly in on the board?
I really wish I had. That'd be so cool if you could do that. Yeah, I do wish I had Han Solo to come in reserve, but there's no TIE fighters to knock into Vader. He's too far away from them at the moment. Although there is so to form the wings, you do have what they call command cards. So as you see, Luke, Howlrunner, and Gina have the veteran wing leader card, which allows them to form a wing with 2 to 5 ships of the same type. So you've got all 6 TIE fighters there, 3 X-Wings, 3 B-Wings, and you can actually sort of spread the damage around between the other ships in the wing as well, which is quite nice. But you do have other types of wings as well, which will allow you to do mixed wings. So you've got the Sky Strike Academy have their own type of wing. There's a Phoenix Squadron wing, which I would love to fly, but it's really awkward to manage because of the way you actually have to set that up. But there's one that you could actually do for Darth Vader, and I'm just trying to bring it up now, which you can basically set it up with Darth Vader and a wing of TIE fighters.
Mauler and the other guy.
Yeah. Mauler and not Howlrunner. Oh, I saw the Backstabber, that's one. But yeah, if you have the Agent of the Empire upgrade card, you're the wing leader, you have up to 2 to 5 TIE fighters with you. And then you've got ones which, if you want to go for huge ships, you've got the Dreadnought Hunter, which gives you a better chance of getting crits, which is always good fun. But it looks like I think we're about to come up to our first set of shooting for this turn. Now, all movement is done in initiative order from the wing leader. So my wings both go the initiative 5 step because the wing leader is initiative 5. Howl Runner or the ties go initiative 5. The Raider and the Transport are the last two things through. They actually have 2 initiative levels. So they've got it's like an 8-0, which means that they'll always shoot and move last. Ooh, and that is
One
going into
down.
those TIE fighters. Got the evades and the focuses there, which is annoying.
Yeah, they're quite well tokened up.
Yeah.
Quite sensible, I think, for Wes to take evade.
Especially with Howl Runner, when attacking gets the option to obviously re-roll. God, I just thought, imagine seeing a wing of 6 Vulture droids all calculating.
Oh.
Oh, and then if you've got someone behind with the tactical relay that allows you to keep hold of it's Kalani. That allows you
That allows you to get target locks?
Yeah, there's the one that allows you to keep hold of, I think it's 2 calculates a turn, so you could potentially have 6 vultures with 8 calculates. I don't know which one. I very rarely play with the tactical relays.
This is a Proton Torpedo from Luke.
Yeah, Proton Torpedo from Luke.
Can spend both 4s.
So
No.
Marksmanship. Yeah, so spend a force for Instinctive Aim, Marksmanship.
Ooh.
Hey, take that. Does it have? Still has the evade, but that is still a crit going through, and that is on blue, top left-hand corner.
This is where you need concussion missiles.
Yeah.
Or bombs.
Or cluster missiles would be quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, getting in there and dropping cluster mines or a proximity mine down there, or an electro-proton bomb and just ionize them all so that they all had to break the wing. Yeah, so they're obviously, like I said, they'll move in like their wing leader initiative order, but they still shoot in their own pilot initiative order. So you obviously Wedge Shot first, then it's Luke, then for me, well, Bane's got no shots. It was then go to Gina, Howl Runner, and so on and so forth. Which is, it's interesting having to try to remember who the slightly different variants in the order that all not quite got range 3, but not bullseye. That's a shame. It would have been nice to get some Proton Cannons in on that large base ship there. And those of you that are eagle-eyed will probably notice that Raider's not on a 2.0 base. It's on a 1.0 base because unfortunately Wes couldn't find it, and I left my Raider base at home. So we tried to be as accurate as possible.
Brings back memories. Seeing all the coloured stats on the base.
Oh yeah, I sometimes miss it, but at the same time, it does just make those bases a lot cleaner without it.
Yeah. Cleaner bases are much better. But it did have its uses.
Yeah.
Remember variations you just get in initiative was pretty crazy. All the way up
Yeah,
to
well,
11, 12, I think.
9 was the original initiative
Yeah,
cap.
and then you can boost it
Veteran
to 12.
Instincts, Veteran Instincts, you could boost it up to 11.
11, yeah.
So you'd see like Soon TFL with like Vet Instincts at 11 or Vader at Initiative 11. Whisper used to get bumped up to Initiative 9, I think it was, because she was 7. Oh, Whisper in the 1.0 days was just offensively good.
Yeah.
A lot of the aces
Hopefully
were.
we'll get some sort of buff for them.
I would absolutely love that. I mean, I'd love the Phantoms to come back because they're just so good. I'd like to see them get something. Maybe some form of gunner that actually works a bit better with them, because they took away the crew, gave it a gunner, and there wasn't really much you could do, especially with their loadout costs. Oh, that's a good shot into the transport. I think I'm going to be losing a fair few shields here. Good job I reinforced. Oh, and the epic ships can do 2 actions as well.
Oh, wow.
So they actually get to do 2 actions a turn. It's sort of
Reinforce and
reinforced
Tarlock.
focus, reinforced Tarlock. I mean, I've got targeting batteries on mine, which is quite nice. So when I shoot, so after you engage, you get to spend 1 charge. After you forward this attack, you may acquire a lock on the defender, which is quite nice. And that looks like it might be going, yes, into the Raider. And the child's tokens are on Gina and Ten Num as well. So obviously when they shoot into...
That's very nice for you. 3 locks.
Yeah. Which is exactly what those guys want, because then they'll just spend it on their stabilized S-Foils double tapping. Just like that. That's the key with the epic ships as well to take them down, is just weight of fire. You've really just got to keep hammering them, because those shields are going to come back. That's a
Bit like
great
that.
shot. Yeah, bit like that. That's a proton. That's a proton cannon. That's how you do it.
Oh, shit, he's got shield.
Yeah, shame he's got shields. That would have been absolutely, like, against any other ship, that would have been amazing.
Could you imagine a crit train on a epic ship?
I mean, can you imagine a crit train at any point, Ben?
Yeah. Yeah, we had a very interesting crit train.
Yes.
Let's just say a ghost didn't hang around too long.
Well, I mean, he was hanging around, and then your cards just
Is it
decided he'd had enough.
7 damage from 1 shot?
2 turned into 5.
5, okay, yeah.
So yeah, 2 crits turned into 5 crits, and if you want to see that, check out the Patreon game that went up last week that myself and Ben played. Fantastic game, really good fun, some really interesting lists in that as well.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, so switching focus there with Braylings, he's not quite ranged, taking 3 shields off Lieutenant Sai there. I don't think that's a bad idea, to be honest, because the Lambda is slow and cumbersome, but does have fairly decent teeth to it.
Yeah, it's quite a support piece for Wes. I mean, you got Palpatine.
Yeah.
Sai gives out locks, I believe.
So Lieutenant Sai.
It allows you to do something with locks.
Yeah, and you've got the S223-321 on there as well. So Lieutenant Sai, after you perform a coordinate action, if the ship you chose performed an action on your action bar, you may perform that action yourself. And the S2-321, after you coordinate, you may choose an enemy ship at range 0 to 3 of the ship you coordinated. If you do, acquire a lock on that enemy ship, ignoring range restrictions. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And I like the Lambda. It's a cool ship.
Yeah, it was nice when they put the rear arc on it.
It had a gun on the model. It always had a gun on the model, so it makes sense.
Yeah, because that was always the thing. It's not the most nimble of ships, and it takes a while to turn it around, and just stops people from chasing it as much.
Yeah, I mean
Getting free shots.
The only hard turn maneuver it's got is the 2, and it's red. I think it's probably got the least amount of moves on its dial for any standard, well, non-epic ship.
Yeah, I'd probably say it's probably one of the most unmaneuverable ships in X-Wing.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a stop, 1 through 3 forward, 1 through 3 bank, and the 2 hard. And the 2 hard and the 3 bank are red. So, yeah, it can't move very fast. Hence the fact that it's known as the Space Cow. Oh, that transport is taking an absolute battering up there. It is now shields down, and this is where that weight of fire and how runner reroll is coming in absolutely clutch. Now the hull doesn't regenerate, but the shields do. And now we get to those big boys getting their chance to shoot. They're just trying to figure out which one is taken down. Yeah, 3 X-Wings shooting into those TIE fighters, and all I've managed to do is 1 damage.
So how many points are each of the epic ships worth that you're playing with at the moment?
So the points that Yasby have based them on, which isn't the official points, but obviously they've done some calculations based on the others. So the transport is worth 10 points and has a loadout of 25, and the raider is 15 points with a loadout of 50.
And for people watching this and for myself, what's the points cap for an general epic game? For example, this one.
So normally, if you select epic on most of them, it'll go up to 40 points. But we decided to do. We thought, 40 points is a lot. It's been a while since we played, so we've just done a 30-point game. But again, you can do almost what you want if you've got enough time. You can just go absolutely crazy with it and do 60.
It works well to play with. You could play this with teams, can you as well? Two and two.
Yeah, I mean, if you say took 20 points apiece and went, right, one has one epic and one has another. I mean, like I said, the Raider is one of the most expensive ones on the board. I'm just having a look at the points for the Tantive, if I can find it. There we go. The Tantive is actually 14 points. So, similar stat line. It's got 18 hull and 7 shields, so standard. But yeah, this works really nicely if you've got teams. Having the wing tool as well really does speed up the process. I think myself and Wes, we played for about 2.5 hours. Yeah, 2.5 to 3 hours we played for on this one game. So it's not a quick game, but there was enough going on that at no point did we sort of feel like we were just hanging around. We were able to just keep going quite quickly. Well, it looks like we haven't even got to the epic ships yet. We're still waiting for Lieutenant Sai to actually realise he's got guns on his ship. Ineffectual guns, it would appear. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to play more epic, and I'd like for AMG to actually give us some official points for the epic stuff. The points that Yasby have done are they seem pretty legit. So it'd be interesting to see if AMG finally got around to updating the epic rules. Will those points be of a very similar value? Ooh, something just got hurt. That was Braylon. 3 shields down on Braylon there.
Wow.
That is not very nice there from that raider. And those epic ships as well, when you put the hard points with the weapons on them, they can do quite a few bonus shots. They're not as limited to the single bonus shot. It's more limited to how much energy do you have that you can spend.
Yeah, I like that mechanic. Using a resource
Yeah.
to do various things.
It feels right with the epic ships. It feels like they're putting power to certain things, like put more power to like the shields or more power to the weapons and stuff. It is pretty cool, and the epic ships just, I think they all look great. You've got obviously the 5 of them at the moment. You've got the Raider, the Gazanti for Empire and First Order. You've got the Transport and the Tantive. Some of them are cross faction as well. The Trident, the Trident's cool, and the Croc.
That's
So
the Trident's the one that can give out tractor tokens, isn't it?
Yeah, the Trident is an interesting one. It can reverse, it can grapple, it can give out tractors. There's all sorts that it can do. It's probably the most complicated one of the lot, depending on the loadout, but also one of the most interesting looking ones. But I mean, in all honesty, the first epic ship I picked up was the Raider. A, because back in the day it was the only way to get Palpatine, and B, because who doesn't want the closest thing we'll get to a Star Destroyer and X-Wing?
Yeah, I remember they used to get be really good cards and upgrades and stuff that you really wanted from the ships.
Yeah.
I remember C-3PO
was in the Tantive.
was in the Tantive, yeah.
You also had the Advanced Targeting Computer upgrade card
Yes.
for your X1s was in the Raider box. You got X1 in there. The Transport came with an alternative paint job for the X-Wing and a few more pilots in there. The Gazanti came with 2 TIE fighters. And also the stands that you could actually have them like actually under your ship as well, which was pretty cool. Oh, interesting talent roll there from the X-Wings. Clearly they've decided no thank you to those TIE fighters. But they've lined themselves up.
I played a scenario version 1 that was really good fun, where a Tantive 4 Tantive had to get from one end of the board to the other, basically in the middle of in the middle. It went in pretty much in a straight line. And the rebel player had to escort that epic ship from one end of the board to the other, and then your opponent had to just take down that ship. Really fun, and really tense. Seeing this ship like slowly getting to its destination, the rebels desperately trying to protect it. It's a really fun scenario.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, obviously all of the like large and epic-based ships in the packs that you would buy had scenarios in those packs as well. There was so many different scenarios. If you looked at the back of the booklet that came with them, there was there was tons of scenarios that they had in there. I didn't ever play a single one of them, but they were cool to see the different scenario options that they had with them. I'm wondering if I still had them lying around somewhere. I know that if you were to go online, you could definitely find that resource somewhere. Probably on the X-Men Wikipedia probably has those all on there. And I can imagine there are some incredibly clever people out there who've adapted them for 2.5. But it was quite nice just playing this with no scenario, just throwing ships at each other, not having to worry about, oh, I've got to capture this, I've got to be at range of this. Just sort of, I just need to point my ships in the right direction and throw some dice. It was absolutely. We had enough chaos trying to remember how to fly the epic ships, let alone having to then try and see if we could do a scenario. I mean, you could
Wes has got
definitely
you
say
in a little pincer here.
he's done really well with those TIE fighters. Darn him. I mean, I should really have expected it. I mean, I didn't think there was going to be much. I didn't think he was going to keep going straight at my transport, but I didn't expect him to turn in as hard as he did. I mean, if I'd have stuck with it with the X-Wings and got in there, it would have disrupted his wing completely, which would have been good. But then I'd have the transport coming in right behind me. But as it is, I've got a nice set of shots lined up on the transport with at least 2 marksman ships lined up. Let's see where this raider goes. Not too fast, please. I've got some Proton Cannons. Yeah, and the way that you obviously got the tool to do the turning on it is it's really quite satisfying. And one thing you do need to remember when you are flying an epic ship is that when it turns, the back swings out quite a lot. Range is that? Looks like it should be just outside of range 1, so hopefully I can get some proton cannons off. But it's such a big model. Good job they're on quite high stands, otherwise it would just be getting in the way all the time. So have you thought about playing any epic in the future, Ben?
Yeah, I'd probably like to give it a go, actually. I don't own any epic models anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
I used to have the Tantive and the Raider.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind giving it a go. I did really enjoy the game that I played in version 1. I really enjoyed the mechanics of the using the energy and firing the different weapons and deciding where your energy is going to go and stuff. Really good fun.
It is much better with it now in version 2. They really, like I said, they really streamlined the whole process down, which was brilliant. I mean, this size epic game in version 1, you wouldn't have wing tools, so you'd be doing every single ship individually. You'd have to set aside most of a day to play an epic game. I think it was back then that was 200 points was an epic game, because obviously it was the original 100 point list, wasn't it? Yeah. So an epic game would be like 250 points, and it's almost like every 50 points you added, you'd be like, right, well, that adds at least an extra hour to our game. And obviously, normally you wouldn't play it on a 3x3, but to try and fit it onto the camera, we did it on a 3x3, which is also why we only did a 30-point game. If you were doing a 40-point game, you'd definitely want a 6x3 to play this on. Ooh, is that Vader having a go at 10 num?
Oh, that's a nasty attack.
That's a good attack. Bit of a shame for Vader that he doesn't have Braylon, because Braylon's obviously taken the damage already. And there's the advanced targeting computer that now comes built into your X1s. That's a strong attack. Half pointing him there. Be interesting to see if that Lambda manages to survive. He's got a couple more attacks coming into him, but also how effective these B-Wings can be against the Raider. Will we see its shields down at all?
Tough to get through with the reinforcer.
Yeah, Reinforce is a really solid upgrade there, and some of these upgrades that the Epic ships obviously introduced in this game, I think it was like Reinforce, Jam, and Coordinate, obviously made their way into the standard game as well, which is good. That would be Gina, I think. I'm assuming. Let's see. So yeah, 2 damage on the Raider there. So the Reinforce helping out. That is. Yeah, so that's the Proton Cannon. So regular shot followed by a Proton Cannon. That's a nice amount of damage there. Again, it's a shame that it's all into the shields. Like running that many crits and it's just straight into shields is just a little bit disappointing. I think we've got Luke up next. Yep, going into Psy. And spending a force and marksmanship. And that's a Lambda down. Well, there's one ship down. Only another 6 million TIE fighters and a Vader to go. I mean, it's quite scary when you look at. As I said, this is a 30 point game. I want to say it's a 30-point game. I might be completely wrong, actually. Could be 40 points. I'm just going to quickly figure it out. Bear with me a sec, guys. It's been a while since we actually did this, or we actually recorded this before Christmas. It's just taken us a while to get around to actually getting it onto the table for you guys, onto the thing.
How runner just seeing if he can get one of the X-Wings in arc. I think he's got to go for the B-Wings.
Yeah, it's very close there.
Yeah, oh, that's a nice.
Oh, Nasty. Our runner is just rude. Apologies, this is actually a 40-point game, so this is a full game, 40 points. Yeah, 40 points on the board. So all you'd have to do is drop the Lambda and the Raider, and that's a normal 20 points game like list there for Wes. But let's see, we've got lots of shooting to come in here. But yeah, half points on Braden there, so Wes is picking up some good points. It's just unfortunate how resilient those TIE fighters ended up being, because they just...
Power of 3 agility.
Yeah. I mean, generally, TIE fighters are one of those ones that you always underestimate a TIE fighter, but yeah, 3 agility is actually so much more powerful than you'd expect. So getting the crit through. Oh, the way crits work in Epic is there's actually two lots of wording on there. You've got your standard wording, and then you've got your precision wording. But you only get the precision if you're within a specific parameter. For instance, you've got one which is the normal crit would be, say, panicked cruise, so you cannot gain green tokens to perform coordinated jam actions. But if you are in the front half of the ship, you'll get controls disrupted. So then instead they'll gain a jam token. You've got ones for being in the side, it disables turrets. If it's in the bullseye, you get bridge hit, which means they lose a charge from each of their crew upgrades and lose all of your force, which is brilliant. Ones in the back, drive damage, so you gain 2 ion tokens. So there's a lot of interesting things that these crits can do if you happen to pull them and you're in the right spacing. But here come the TIE fighters. Go see how much damage they can put through into my X-Wings. It looks like Wedge is the target. Which again, I don't blame them. Wedge is just horrible.
Yeah. Wedge is always my first go-to. Try and kill him as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there's 2 shields down. And I completely forgot about Biggs's ability as well. Oh, that's going to be 4. That's going to be 4 TIE fighters shooting into Wedge. Only Yellow, who is on the rock, not going to be able to. Oh, that's 2 more damage into Wedge.
Oh, poor Wedge.
Yeah.
More points for Wes.
Yeah, and I still haven't remembered that I've got that Biggs does Biggs things. It's that Howl Runner reroll. The fact that it works every time. You fly them in a swarm. How if you're flying a swarm with TIE fighters, regardless if you're flying it in Epic with the wing tool and you're not running Howl Runner, something isn't right, if you ask me, because Howl Runner is just the best TIE fighter to have when you've got a couple of them flying together. Oh, that's brutal. Most of those shots were, well, half those shots were range 1 as well.
It's so scary having a block of TIE fighters with Howl Runner in it. You really underestimate the amount of damage that they can put out.
And there we go, that's wedged down. And it was at that point that I remembered that Biggs has an ability that could have worked there.
You don't see Biggs much. Not a normal play.
He's okay.
He was used a lot in version 1.
He was used a lot in version 1, but I think at his points costing and with his loadout, his loadout's not that great. So that there's better options out there for an X-Wing. If you want to run multiple X-Wings, there are better options out there than Biggs, unfortunately. Yeah, but I wanted to fly quite a thematic list, so that's why we've got all three of them, because it's fun. I mean, Biggs is 5 points. And there's just other pilots you could take for 5 points. Like Jack Porkins at 5 points, or Garvin. Or Wes Jansen, who is actually a pretty good one as well.
Oh, Wes is, yeah. Nasty pilot ability.
Also, you can't give Biggs talent slot.
Jam would have been so strong in this. Jam off a reinforced from an epic ship.
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
Huge.
No pun intended.
Hey, be pretty epic.
But yeah, no, I mean, it would be really good. Like, Jam is really, really good one for your epic ships to sort of take out those reinforce, break those locks. If they've managed, I mean, Wes has got Perceptive Copilot on his radar as well, so to get rid of one of those focuses. That's both force points of the child spent there. Oh, and the lucky evade. That is going to keep Kendam alive on 1. And yeah, Wes has also got sensor experts on his radar, which means he can actually maintain up to 3 locks on different objects.
Wow.
After you perform a lock action, you may spend up to 2 energy to acquire a lock on that many other objects at range 0 to 1 of the object you locked, ignoring range restrictions.
Makes R3 feel sad.
Yeah. I mean, it is the Super R3. And that's one action. He could then reinforce, or he could do Perceptive Copilot, so he could have 3 locks and 2 focuses in 1 turn. Which is crazy. And because Wes decided that he was maybe a little bit worried that his radar might go down, he actually has the Stalwart Captain upgrade on there. After you're destroyed, you're not removed until the end of the end phase.
Oh.
So it sticks around until the end phase, shoots, then goes. So, I mean,
one last hurrah.
Yeah, maybe he was potentially worried I was going to bring something incredibly offensive. I mean, the last time me and Wes played an epic game, I might have brought 2 epic ships when he brought 1. So, which is why this time I brought the transport, thinking he might bring a Gazanti, and then he brings the radar. I'm like, oh, okay. This hasn't gone quite to how I planned it. Oh, and we've got a Leia trigger, so this is all 3 talon rolls there, getting out of the way of that radar. I was thinking, when I was sending you this list, do you remember when Leia was like 2 points?
Yep.
And if you're running Rebels and you weren't running Leia, you just like, oh,
You're
I'm just
doing
going to
something
take
wrong.
I'm just going to take a U-wing just so I can put Leia on the U-wing.
Yeah, it was crazy the points that she was.
Yeah.
I think she's
Now she's
quite fairly costed now.
7 points now, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly. Which,
Yeah, I think that's
I agree.
pretty
That's
reasonable.
for her ability, that is pretty. Just imagine you were using her with Y-wings. You just literally zip up the board, K-turn, drop a load of mines, disappear. That could be quite fun. Oh, those TIE fighters are coming right in there.
Surprised he didn't go forward there.
Maybe worried about where his raider's going to end up, possibly.
Yeah, it could be.
Also, as well, he'd have to where the bottom left-hand TIE fighter has actually landed
Oh,
on
yeah, the other
a
one
rock.
would land. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have to do quite a big move to avoid that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see with that tool, that's quite a big sweep that TIE fighter has done.
Yeah, so if you're doing a 3 bank with your middle ship, your outside ship I think it's almost like a 3.5 to 4 bank that it ends up doing. I mean, you definitely, when you're banking, you get into positions that you wouldn't normally be able to get with with a wing of ships. Like if you're doing it in swarms. I mean, normally if you have three or four ships and you're banking, they end up getting in that sort of diamond formation until they bank back.
Vader just checking in on his buddies.
Yeah.
Making sure everything's still good. Being a good team player that he is.
Now, again, we mentioned earlier about how far it swings out the back. Now, again, because it's quite a casual game, and me and Wes were just looking to have fun, the back of my template has actually come off the board. So we just sort of said, okay, let's just do something that the ship can't really do because we don't really want to lose a ship by doing that because that's not fun for anyone. So we just sort of played a little bit fast and loose with the rules there. But tip for you, if you are flying an epic base ship, don't put it too close to the edge of the board. It won't be able to come round. As opposed to like any other ship, if you were to do like a one bank, it'll do it nicely, but with an epic, they've all got big butts.
And they cannot lie.
Indeed they cannot. Now, just while we're waiting for Wes to move the raider up and commence Order 66 by the look of it on my X-Wings there. Just a reminder, if you do like what we're doing here at Art of Art Gaming, you can support us on Patreon. There is a link in the description below Supporting us on Patreon is a fantastic way of showing us that you like what we're doing. Also allows you to get sneak peeks of some of the stuff we've got coming up in future games, what we've got planned for the rest of this year, or at least the start of our plans for this year. It'll also will allow you to get shout outs on the channel, your name in the credits. And if you do our top tier, like our Patreon support last week, you can actually submit a list to us and we will fly that list. Even if it's an epic list and you want us to fly it, or just something a bit fun, something a bit janky, we will do our best to fly that. So if that sounds like something you want to do and you really want to support us, the link for that is in the description below. Ooh, now where does he put
wouldn't
the
like to be these X-Wings.
No,
They are brave X-Wings.
That's not a party that they want to be involved with. Like, I mean,
They need a lot of hope.
And unfortunately, I didn't think to put hopeful on any of them. I mean, just looking at those TIE fighters, they have taken a total of 4 damage. And one of those is because Wes landed on a rock. I mean, I remember back in the day when Assault TIE Fighters was a legitimately meta list to run.
Yep.
Admittedly, back in the day, there was only, right back in the day, you only had 4 ships. You had the X-Wing, Y-Wing, TIE Fighter, and the X1. So you didn't have a lot of options, but I remember the very first tournament I went to in 1.0 was the very first beachhead. So I want to say 2018, maybe. And there were lists of just TIE fighters.
Yeah, TIE fighters with a lot of crack shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, crack shot TIE fighters. I was just thinking, it'd be cool to see the Iden Versio and all that.
Yeah,
Inferno
I like the
as a wing.
Inferno squad.
I might have to do the Phoenix Cell one though, because that is an interesting type of wing to try and fly. So the Phoenix Squadron wing, just while they're doing their attacks, you're a wing leader, and the wingmates must be 2 to 5 of the following. You could have an attack shuttle, a sheathopede, up to 5 A-wings. And it's really weird the way that they actually have to set up.
Some more munitions going into the radar.
That looks like some Proton Torps. I don't know if he's reinforced. Might be the other side of the... There is a token there. I can just see the very edge of it, but I can't see what it is, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that everything sort of got out of the B-Wing's arc, but it didn't really have much to do that wasn't going to get the B-Wing ran over, unfortunately. Oh, that's a nice roll. That's a
also
better
a
roll.
nice roll.
I mean, it's frustrating, but you know what? it's nice when like the roles actually work out quite fair for both players.
Feels fair, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's nothing worse than if like your dice is rolling hot all game and then your opponents are just not, because it feels there's a feel bad to it. Obviously, if you're in a tournament, it's great when yours are rolling hot and theirs are not. But in a casual game, you want it to be out. You want it to be fair. And again, at this point, I actually remembered veteran wing leader plus Biggs, and that Biggs can take some of this damage. And again, there's just a lot of cards on the table there to try and remember what everything does. We don't have any of these standard loadout cards either for any of these ships. Well, except for Vader, who is the Battle Yavin Vader. Maybe when they reintroduce Epic, they'll do some form of standard loadout cards for some of these ships. It could be quite interesting.
Yeah, it'd be good if they were bigger though, because sometimes I find the standard loadout ones to print can be quite. There's a lot of text on one card. Could be just as difficult as having individual upgrade cards.
I mean, I would almost argue that it'd be quite nice. Obviously, don't worry, the standard loadout cards look lovely. You've obviously got the full art on the back, but it almost feels like maybe you could have what the upgrades it has on the back of the card to give more space for it. But it's a tough one. They've obviously had to balance the way it looks with getting everything on there. And I think they're really nice. I'm looking forward to flying some more of my Siege of Coruscant ones. I've written 2 lists from the Siege of Coruscant stuff, so it'd be nice to get those on the board at some point.
Oh, they're so good. Really, really strong. Siege of Coruscant ships.
And I'm really looking forward to it.
Especially the arcs.
Yeah.
They're so cheap.
Makes me want to buy another arc. I also been looking at the Separatists. I'm like, I need more of the Separatist ships, because they're a faction you need multiples of pretty much every ship, and I only have multiples of the Vultures. I don't have multiples of any others. So I'm like, I need to get another HMP. I need to get another droid tri-fighter. I need to get another hyena, and I'm like, so many things I need to get more of. And then obviously we've got Battle of Endor coming out at some point. And that looks, I mean, you've got Soon-to-Fell coming there. You've got standard loadout defenders. Will any of them be 6 points is the question.
And Tycho, is it?
Yeah.
He looks interesting.
I just think that they all look, there's just such potential in that pack. And it's hard to, seeing what the abilities on there is great, and you can sort of in your mind you can think, oh, that looks like it's going to be really cool, that's going to be really good. But until you get that points costing, it's hard to say what is actually going to be good. Because you look at a ship, like you look at obviously Battle Yavin and Darth Vader, and really cool, really powerful. But if it was 8 points, you wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
What makes it so good is that it's 6 points. Battle Yavin Luke, 5 points. That makes it really good. If it was 1 point more, would it be as popular? Would it be as good? Unsure. So I have to wait to see what the points are for Battle of Endor. But so far, generally, I think they put the points quite a nice space. Obviously, they're hard to rework if they're too good. So they had to be a lot more careful with the points on the standard loadout stuff. But that is a TIE fighter down. 4 turns, and I've taken a TIE fighter down, guys. Go me.
I'm looking forward to this scenario.
Yes. And
That'll be good fun.
we're definitely going to have to give that a go as soon as that's out.
Yeah, we'll have to get that on the channel.
Yeah. And we still need to do the actual official Battle of Yavin. I know we did my made-up Battle of Yavin before they brought it out a couple of years back. But I've not actually played the Yavin scenario. I've only played Siege of Coruscant. That was fun. I nearly had you.
Yeah, that was good fun playing that. It's nice to mix it up a bit, try different stuff like that.
Yeah. I still think it'd be quite nice to get a couple more scenarios for standard play. Just mix it up a little. I mean, it'd be nice if we had at least, I always think, at least one more, so that if you're doing a 5 rounds of Swiss tournament, you don't have to play one mission twice and invariably get salvage, which is most people's least favourite.
100% agree with that.
That salvage is most people's least favourite, or that we need a 5th?
Both.
I don't mind salvage. It does change. If you are an ace player, salvage is horrible. If you're not flying AC ships, then salvage isn't too bad. Which is probably why you don't like it, because you like your aces.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's Braylon wiped off the board there by the Raider, unsurprisingly. Now, I mentioned earlier about at some point in the game, I was thinking I kind of wish I either hadn't taken them as a wing or I'd broken the wing up. And it's the B-wings specifically, because flying them in the wing was really good fun, but Braylon and 10 don't like to fly in a wing like that. They like to fly together, but not as a wing. They like to have their independence.
Yeah, probably quite like to have their barrel rolls.
Yeah. They were missing their stress mechanics. And with Gina in there as well, the stress mechanics works really nice, because obviously if she gets the stress, she has to pass it on. And who likes stress? Braylon and 10. Yeah, this game's kind of running away from me a little bit here. I need to start getting some ships off the board of Wedges. Ooh, that was close.
Not easy to do though. I mean, all his little ships are all 3 agility.
Yeah.
His epic ship is going to take a hell of a lot of firepower to take down.
His epic ship is going to take a bit more than I actually have possible, I feel. I mean, 17 health there. If he's got a reinforce, then it's just the amount you have to put into it.
Leave the TIE fighters, take out a TIE fighter, it's only 3 points.
Yeah.
Oh, that's close. Well judged.
Yeah. Just about 2 points actually for a Black Squadron ace.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, 2 points.
I mean, Epic is one of those game types where having generics actually still kind of makes sense. Especially if you're playing in a wing, it just works. Having said that, a wing of TIE fighters with all named, none of them really interfere with the other. They just benefit. But who else could we have in there with them? So, Iden, just straight up preventing damage.
Oh, shit. Her ability is so strong.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of sparked the TIE Fighter meta swarm, because Item was so cheap.
Yeah.
And anyone chucked a proton torpedo at you or anything, you could just nullify it.
Yeah, it was horrible. So yeah, I mean, there's just some really cool ones. You've got Scourge, you've got Wampa, you've got Irika, you've got the Battle Yavin versions as well. I mean, if you had Backstabber with Mauler next to it, roll one additional attack dice if Darth Vader or Mauler Mytha are in your side arc, which is pretty cool. And Mauler Mytha does the same thing as well.
And they have an extra health.
Yeah, 4 health. With Predator and Afterburners on Mauler Mythal, and Backstabber has Crackshot, Disciplined, and Afterburners. Oh, that's a cool loadout. That one doesn't get the. Did that one get the extra health as well? Let me just have a quick look.
Yeah, they both have 4.
4 health on a TIE Fighter as well. That's just ridiculous. Again, I need to get that Battle Yavin pack. This is cool stuff in there. Those TIE Fighters have just hounded my X-Wings the whole way through this game. But as soon as they sort of got a sniff of those X-Wings, they just stuck to them like glue. They've done really well there. Although that channel for that Raider to move down is getting very tight now.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult to figure that one out.
A 1 forward might miss the TIE Fighters. It goes forward about a base length, like a small base length, that is. See, and that looks like a 1 bank, so that is going to go straight into Biggs there. Yeah, that's gonna crash straight into Biggs. So Biggs is going to get picked up. As I said, in 1.0, that would have been Biggs absolutely nuked off the board. Bye-bye. But in version 2, Biggs is now going to get set up in the rear of the Raider at any angle. Yeah, spat out the back, any angle. I was going to angle it for a range 0 shot there. And he does take a damage for that as well. I believe the damage is 1 point of damage for the speed of the maneuver. And looks like it was a console fire, so I think it was a crit. So it took a console fire. Always fun. And the Raider took no damage, just shrugged it off. As you can imagine. You just imagine the captain on the Raider just going, what was that sound? Did we hit something?
Yeah, do you hear something?
But Darth Vader is now looks like he's going after Leia. Oh yeah, and even after hitting your ship, it still gets to do actions. These huge ships are just silly fun.
They're pretty epic.
I would still like to see. I'd like to see more epic ships brought into the game. Like I'd like to see ones that are specific for the Republic. Like, it'd be great to see the ship from the very beginning of Phantom Menace that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan go to Naboo on. That'd be quite cool. And then I even think some of like the Nubian ships, like Padme's sort of like chrome ships, some of those look like they could be bordering on epic size. I would say definitely for the one from the beginning of Attack of the Clones, the really wide one would be, if they were to put that in the game, that would be on an epic size base.
I mean, the Gauntlet's not far off, size-wise. Model.
Yeah.
The model, pretty
I
thick.
mean, for sheer amount of space that takes up. And even the Ghost. I mean, the Ghost is borderline epic as well. I mean, when they brought the Ghost out, I didn't think they'd have another ship as big as that. And then the Gauntlet came out, and it was not far off, to be honest. Oh, is that Vader doing angry Vader things?
Ouch.
Yep. Vader doing angry Vader things. All of the crits. So yeah, that's a lot of damage onto that transport. Thankfully, I have a reinforce, so it's only going to be 2 crits, not 3. Unfortunately, I can't quite see what those crits are there. Looks like controls disrupted was at least one of them, I think, judging by the length of the text on there. So that would, if Vader was in my full front arc, would be getting a jam token. Yeah, obviously the epic ships have their very own damage deck as well.
That's a nice hit.
Oh, go on, Luke.
That's Braylon, I think. No, not Braylon. I think it's one of the B-wings.
Gina. Oh, Gina,
Yeah, I think that was
I mean,
Gina, range 1.
yeah,
This is Luke now.
this is Luke. Does he go into yellow that's damaged, or does he go into?
Ooh.
May as well spend the force. He's going to get it
Yeah,
back.
you're
Oh, it's
going to get
going
them
in,
back when you defend.
going into Howrunner. So that is a crit going through. Does Howrunner take it, or does it go on to another one? Which you can do a veteran wing leader. And what you can do, obviously, if you ion one, and the rest of the wing don't do the same ion maneuver, it breaks the wing. So it looks like he's actually taken that on red to spread the damage. That was a damaged engine. Not that it looks like I have any other attacks against. Oh no, I do sneak another attack in there against red. Do I go for that, or do I just try to shoot the raider? No, definitely going for that one. Oh no, that was actually range 0 into the raider, so 1 more damage. Nowhere near
Slowly
half.
getting there.
Slowly but surely. I mean, 26 health on the raider, and that's only because of the title card he's got drops its shields down by 2. Oh, that's Luke Skywalker down.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh, ouch.
that hurts a
That's a
lot.
big piece.
Those TIE fighters have just been so efficient. Again, with Howrunner's ability to allow them to re-roll 1 dice, the fact that they can spread the damage out around the squadron as well, the sheer volume of dice. I mean, outside of range 1, that's 10 dice, 12 dice they're throwing. Inside range 1, that's potentially 18 dice they're throwing all at range 1.
So death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. And right now they've got Gina in their sights. I mean, again, imagine it with Vulture droids. Two wings of 6 Vulture droids, all those calculates just flying around.
With energy charge shells as well. Chucking 3 dice.
Oh.
Or 1,000,000 Discord missiles.
Well, fortunately, Discords are limited. So that's one plus side, I suppose. I think energy shell's limited as well.
Not sure.
Let's have a quick look. Energy shells, no, but Discord missiles are definitely limited.
Yeah, you can only
Discord
have
missiles
3
can have
Discord
3,
missiles.
thankfully. Oh, triple evades there from Wes as well.
It's a strong day for the Empire.
Yeah. It just goes to show that when the Empire turn up in force, they can be incredibly powerful unless there is someone out there dropping the shields.
And when they turn up in force with force.
Yes.
That's a force to be reckoned with.
More than a force to be reckoned with. It was just, absolute carnage there. I mean, 2 X-Wings and a B-Wing down for a TIE Fighter and a Lambda. Again, I think for me, it was a case of the list build wasn't... I went for a thematic list build, not as effective as I would have hoped. And that's 10 them down. So it was at this point that I sort of said to Wes, maybe this isn't my night. Maybe we shall probably call it here, because I don't think there's really much else I can do. Because at this point, 8 points for me, 28 points for Wes, and I've got some very, very hurting ships. So called it, gave Wes the W there, which he thoroughly deserved. Those TIE fighters just were mopping up everything that they pointed at, did really well. The Raider is just such a good fun piece to come up against, but it is just, you need another big ship to go straight into it, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get the focus fire down on it, but it was an absolutely fantastic game. And big thank you to Wes for actually bringing his epic ships to the board so that we could actually play. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Ben, I'm kind of hoping this has actually enticed you a little bit to maybe get some epic on the board at some point.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give this a go. It's making me want to play it again. So yeah, definitely, I'd be
Yeah,
up for
well,
a game.
okay. We'll get something arranged. Obviously, me and Wes have enough epic that we can loan them to pretty much half the team. And no, before you say it, we are not doing epic aces high.
Oh,
It's
all right,
not happy.
all right,
It's not
fine,
happy.
fine.
We'll,
We'll do
we'll,
Epic Mario Kart instead.
wow. Epic Mario Kart. Epic Flight Academy. Oh, there's so many silly options that are there, but no. We will get Epic Game arranged for you, Ben, at some point, because it is good fun. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us for that. I do hope that you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And guys, we've been threatening to bring some epic back onto the table, and there we go. There is our attempt at doing an epic game. We had so much fun doing this. We are going to bring more to the channel at some point during 2024, but we hope you enjoyed it. In the meantime, guys, please don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.